afternoon. Do you feel history in the air? Because we are making history today. That's right. That's right. And the beauty is, it's living history. And the people in the room who have contributed to where we are today. And you know, you're so bold. You're ready to go even further. And who better than a Michael P. McMillan to be that leader, that visionary, and that collaborator to unite us for the next level of empowering this community of St. Louis and the people who need us most. Michael P. McMillan, President and CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis.
Thank you, Charlotte. Please give her a big round of applause and all of the staff that have worked so hard to make today's program a reality. And I want to start off by acknowledging the very hardworking, dedicated, competent, qualified, capable staff members of Grace Hill. Please stand, and or if you're standing, raise your hands in the back so that we can give you a big round of applause and thanks for everything that you do each and every day throughout the whole St. Louis region to make a difference in the lives of so many people that need us throughout this entire community. I would also like to acknowledge and ask all of the Urban League staff to please stand so that you can be thanked for your tireless dedication to this community and your hard work all year round, but especially during this pandemic. We have seen what both of our organizations have been able to do to serve those in the community that need us the most. I am excited, elated, overjoyed, grateful, and thankful to every single person that worked over the past 2 years to make this historic announcement a reality of the merger of Grace Hill and the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. We are totally grateful, appreciative, and so aware of this historic moment that would not have been possible without so many people, but there are two groups of individuals that have worked with me in this journey over the past 2 years that have given of their time, their talent, and their treasure that need to be acknowledged. And that would be the members of the Board of Directors of Grace Hill and also the members of the Board of the Urban League. And I would like to ask all of them to please stand so that we can acknowledge you and thank you for what you have done to make today a reality. And I also want to greet and welcome all of the people who are watching this as we do Facebook Live and say thank you to you, because the support that we receive in this community is so significant that you have the #1 urban league in the United States of America based on the generosity of the people of St. Louis who stand with us each and every day as we work to empower communities and change lives. So I want to thank all of you that are watching, all of you that are here, and everyone that worked so hard to make this historic merger a reality. Now, as I acknowledged the Grace Hill staff, I want to acknowledge the woman who led the staff into our merger, Dolores Hardwick in the back. Please raise your hand and give her a big round of applause and thanks for leading Grace Hill as its last acting president to get us to this journey today. As we are now one agency working with one mission to improve the lives of people in our community, we will be able to serve 125,000 people a year between the city of St. Louis County, East St. Louis, and St. Clair County. We will have over 300 staff that are working each and every day to make sure that St. Louis is a better place. We will have over 20 locations throughout this entire community to serve the needs of the people in St. Louis. And we have the biggest board of directors of any urban league that ever was or ever will be, with over 75 members. But we would not be the #1 urban league in the United States without that board that gives of their time, their talent, and their treasure to make sure that we have the resources to help those that are in need. One of the historic partnerships that Grace Hill has benefited from, and actually was created by, is from the Episcopal Church. And we are so very pleased that the bishop is here with us today to give greetings and remarks, but also to bless this occasion. And we are even more excited that he has agreed to join our board of directors here as well as its newest member to continue the legacy that the Episcopal Church has in terms of founding Grace Hill Settlement House 117 years ago, and continuing on with that relationship and renewing it in a day and age where we are fighting a health crisis, an economic crisis, a police community crisis, and also dealing with the racial pain and scars of the history of this country. So having the bishop on our board now to continue and renew that relationship is something that we are very excited about, and we welcome you, Bishop, to the Grace Hill campus, and we thank you for what you have committed to do to work with us to make this region a better place. Bishop Dion.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Dion Johnson. I am the 11th Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Missouri, and I've been in that position for all of 1 month and 9 days. So you can tell I'm a pro at this. In 1903, some courageous women and men from Grace and Holy Cross Episcopal Church cast a vision to transform the world in which they lived. They had an eye towards serving their neighbors, whoever their neighbors might be. Their vision enlarged and expanded throughout the years, and by the grace of God, they dreamed of a world where the health and well-being of others was synonymous with the gospel. Their vision of standing with those whom society had left behind eventually became Grace Hill Settlement House, which strives to provide an opportunity to learn, grow, lead, and prosper. And now, as Grace Hill and the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis merge, it is my hope, it is my prayer, it is my dream that together we can do more as one than they could ever hope to achieve on their own. This new partnership reminds us that we are far greater united than we are apart. It is my fervent hope that together that we can change not just St. Louis, not just Missouri, but that what we do here today could echo across this nation. My prayer is that we might see a day where the health and well-being of those who have been left out or left behind in this economy of ours, in this nation, may be afforded the hope and especially the dignity and blessing of prosperity. Today, we give thanks for the continuation and expansion of the vision of dreamers and doers who have gone before us. Today, we celebrate their legacy of reaching out and reaching beyond in this new partnership. There's a Kenyan proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I pray that we go far. I am excited that we will go far together as we begin this new partnership. And so I offer a prayer of blessing from our sisters and brothers across the continent of Africa, an African blessing. Gracious God, you bless us to walk tall, walk well, walk safe, walk free, walk wise, walk good, walk proud, walk true. Walk prayer, walk hope, walk faith, walk light, and may peace always guide you right. Walk joy, walk brave, walk love, walk strong, and may life always give you a song. Walk in God, walk with God, walk for God, and may you dance in the hearts of all you meet. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. As I mentioned, we would not have been able to do this transaction, to work together towards this common goal, without the approval and support of the Board of Directors of both agencies. I'm very pleased to present our next speaker, who was the last chairman of the Board of Directors of Grace Hill, Alex Silversmith, who works for U.S. Bank CDC. And I can tell you from a personal and a professional standpoint, not only did he put in a considerable amount of time, so much so that let's give his wife a big thanks and applause, because she, I know, has been a trooper, because you have had so many evenings and weekends taken up by all of the work that it takes to merge two organizations of this nature. But in addition to what he's done with Grace Hill, in his day job, I can tell you that he is just as committed to helping those in need and racial equity, social justice, and making St. Louis a better region, because I've had the privilege of working with him in U.S. Bank CDC. And when we were trying to finish our Ferguson building that we built on the site of the burned down Quick Trip, it was U.S. Bank CDC that offered us the financing to work on the tax credits to finish building that building at ground zero, in order to make sure that was a tragedy turned into a triumph. And so now that that building has been in operation for 3 years, you have 1,000 African American men who have jobs through the Save Our Sons program that otherwise would not have. Out of that building. But in addition to that, last year at the 5-year anniversary of everything that happened in Ferguson after Michael Brown's death, we looked at the fact that there were a number of other vacant, abandoned, and derelict lots that were out in Ferguson, on West Florissant, in the community, and we said we want to implement the plan that the community has set forth that they want to see, in the form of African American business incubator being created, a sit-down family restaurant, a full-service bank, a strip center, and redevelop 2 of these lots that previously had businesses and were paying taxes and were part of the economy, but they had been burned to the ground and were still sitting vacant 5 years later. And so U.S. Bank CDC once again stepped up to the plate through his leadership, through his work, through his collaboration, to help us fund this $6 million development in Ferguson to revitalize that community. So he is active here, he's active in Ferguson, and he does work in housing around the nation. Please welcome Alex Silversmith.
I think you gave me way too much credit there. Good afternoon. I'm Alex Silversmith. I'm the former Grace Hill Board Chair. Good afternoon, staff, members of the community, friends, peers, heroes. I'm going to talk a little bit about heroes today, and I'm going to start with one of my first heroes, my Grandpa Jack. Over 80 years ago, my grandpa was a kid living in Vienna, Austria. To escape the events leading up to World War II, his parents put him on a boat with 1 pair of clothes and a few dollars. That was it. He came to America alone, lived with some extended family in New York City, practiced his English accent by sneaking into movies, and went back to Europe and fought in World War II and met my grandma on the GI Bill. My Grandpa Jack is a hero to me, and I never even met him. But his actions and the impact they had live on over 80 years later. His story helped me understand the value of a settlement house like Grace Hill, a social services organization like the Urban League, a place where someone could go and get services and get connected and build a community. But my Grandpa Jack did not do it alone. He got help from heroes too, people who work on the front line every day and whose actions and impact will also last a lifetime. Heroes like every one of you in this room. And I've met heroes in my time at Grace Hill. If you bear with me for a minute, I'm going to tell you about just a few. Dolores Hardwick, the rare visionary who has shown that being caring and caring for the little things can achieve great things. A true inspiration to me. Erin Weeks and Vicki Evans, two people who demonstrate what a team can accomplish together when they support one another and empower each other's strengths and always, somehow always find a way to innovate. Dr. Alice Herndon, a true CEO who empowers women business owners to grow their businesses and leads by example, growing the Urban League now Women Business Center to act and run and grow like a business. Mike Foley, a jack of all trades, who will jump in to fix things that need to be fixed and somehow always find time to make the ask. Chris Crenshaw, a real change maker, someone who always puts her team first and the community first. And if that means jumping into a van with supplies and delivering it to houses because nobody else will, then she'll do it. Dr. Aline Phillips, the board chair before me, who showed me how to be brave and to take time to ask the right questions is the right thing to do. And to each and every staff person in here who puts themselves on the line every day with students and families, you are a hero and an inspiration to me. The memory of your impact on the people you work with and the community you've served will endure for years to come. Together, you remind me and the Grace Hill Board that a small group of people can change the world. So what can we imagine together with a bigger group of people can we achieve going forward? Building on this legacy, we look ahead to a bright, bright future as part of the Urban League and under the leadership of Michael P. McMillan. Michael McMillan saw and understood early on what the Urban League and Grace Hill can achieve and accomplish together over the long term. Two incredible groups of people with rich histories started out small and grew to meet the growing needs of the community. We are here today not just to celebrate history, but to make history, which many of you make for the people you touch and work with every day. We are excited about the many great things to come and what we will achieve together. Thank you, my heroes.
Thank you, Alex. 2 years ago, I had the privilege of meeting Laura Kozak as she was the acting president of Grace Hill, and she had been the vice president of development. And when we met, it was really a connection that hadn't taken place already, but was one that should have taken place many years ago. We both worked for the city of St. Louis at the same time. We both came up in the Catholic Church and were framed in our commitment to public service through the Jesuit mission and so many other things of being men and women for others. So when we met, we had a kindred spirit to try to work together to make a difference in the community, to make sure that the legacy of Grace Hill continued and that the work of this settlement house and how it has evolved was even bigger and better in the future. And the person who brought us together was the Reverend Dr. Douglas Petty, who I've had the privilege of knowing now for over 20 years, who has worked in the North Grand Corridor with his church, with education, with healthcare, with transportation, with infrastructure, and so many things to help those in our community that need it the most. So they were the people that I worked with starting 2 years ago to get us down this journey and down this path to where we are today. So I would like to ask them to come together to bring remarks because it was their vision, their foresight, and their willingness to be open to collaboration that gave us the opportunity to be here today. Please give them a big round of applause as they come.
Good afternoon. We're going maskless.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay,
I'm ready.
just making sure.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
It was actually on August the 9th that Dr. Petty brought Mike McMillan and me together, and we commented on the significance of that date as it was the anniversary of Michael Brown's death. Grace Hill for me is a love story. I fell in love with Grace Hill in July of 2008, and I'll never stop loving Grace Hill. Grace Hill struck me as a woman who works tirelessly on behalf of her family and her community, her children, who goes to school at night and works 2 shifts to make everything happen. Grace Hill has always been about what we say is everyday opportunity, the true work of neighbors helping neighbors. Grace Hill is tireless. Grace Hill is dedicated. Grace Hill believes in loving her babies and seeing her children thrive. I have never in my life felt more passion or purpose than when I was in the company of the women and men Alex so poignantly named. Grace Hill has a bright future because she is able to join forces with the Urban League. The Urban League has been leading the advancement of people in our communities for a long time and is tireless about advancing social justice, racial equity, and building a roadmap to empowerment indeed, but in truly building responsible, active communities that lift one another up and envision a future of greatness. And that's what St. Louis can give to the rest of our country, a path forward when neighbors truly help neighbors, and when we take the talent that is with us and we join forces to work together. So this is a moment that I've dreamed of and that I was willing to surrender. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Bishop. Thank all of you for seeing this through. Our brightest days are truly ahead.
So I'm supposed to say something now?
You might.
Okay, all right. Well, let me, this whole process started by Dolores introducing me to Laura. So she's been in the midst of this from the very beginning. So while this moment is here, I do because I am, and I'll come back to that to help us to know. Once you define who you are, then at that stage you can fully understand and not get frustrated by circumstances that you face. So this is to plant some seed to understand the dynamics of what has happened now. Now, I call him Mr. McMillan. That's all I will ever call him, is Mr. McMillan, because of the way that he's handled himself and the respect that he demands by the life of sacrifice that he has shown. So when I stepped into the space of being able to work directly with Laura in the transition of what was happening at Grace Hill, and there was the dialogue about what needs to be the next step, what I said in the midst of all of the overtures is, there's one visionary who can see this. And that visionary would have been him. So, but let me clarify something about visionaries, because visionaries are complicated people. They're so complicated that only other visionaries can understand and fully relate. They can appear to be out of touch with people, although they could be compassionate, but that word vision means coming into view. You don't have the full picture, And there are things that visionaries see that the people, even though they could be close to them, they really can't see it. And most of the time, they need to have a translator to help others to understand what they actually see, because it's never what's in front of them. It's always so far out. And unless you're a visionary, you will not even know what they're seeing and what they're saying. And sometimes it can be frustrating with the demands that they raise and the challenges and the accountability and the things that they do. I'm really padding the way for everybody who works under the leadership of a visionary to understand that there are some things you will never understand unless you become a visionary. So the best way to honor a visionary is to trust them that what they see is right, and it has the best interest, and it's always bigger than them, and it's always bigger than everybody else that they are actually around. So to be able to take this scenario into the lap of him was because this is only the start of something. It doesn't even end with this merger. It doesn't even end here. This is just an opportunity for those who are part of to be able to celebrate. Again, although you don't understand, you can't fully grasp it at this stage, but celebrate it and trust the leadership of the person who does because he is. And it gives an opportunity for you to get clarity about who you are in order to know your most impactful place that you can reside in and have an impact, and to be even more open to stretch yourself, to push yourself, to have more of a selfless way of living and to become a servant leader. Because once it's modeled before you, then it's incumbent upon you to be able to act it out, to be able to. And that was the reason why this needed to happen, because this area, St. Louis, needs to see high quality impact and people of integrity. They need to see it, because then it can be transferred to other places. So you're a part of something that's so dynamic that you ought to just pat yourself on the back to say, I'm here now. I'm a part of this now. Because everybody doesn't get the opportunity to experience the thing. See, John Lewis talked about good trouble, about getting into good trouble. See, everyone doesn't know how to appreciate good trouble, because it will stir people up. It will make people uncomfortable. It will challenge them to get out of their comfort zone. I better stop, because there's a road that I could go down, but I better stop. But thank you, Mr. McMillan.
Thank you both. Well, Pastor, I was wondering between you and the bishop, who was going to take us down the path of having a sermon today. So if you want to, we can have you come back for another session and a full-on sermon here in this facility. We thank you. My next presentation is going to be done by Alderman John Collins Muhammad, who is a very young, very dedicated, very committed man to this community. And as he gets ready to come forward, I want to commit to him something that he may have noticed today as we prepared for this event. Grace Hill has been an anchor in this community for a very long time. And as a result of that, we want to double down on not only what we have done, but what we can do in this community. So some, if not all of you, may know that we had the PNC Bank donated to us to continue expanding this campus, because we wanted to make sure that we did not have a vacant, abandoned, derelict bank here in this community. And so working with Grace Hill and the board and the staff and the St. Louis Community Credit Union, we are going to take the small branch that currently exists at the water tower and move it across the street for a full-service St. Louis Community Credit Union branch here in North St. Louis. But in addition to that, we are also doing a partnership with the SBA, where we will try to encourage entrepreneurship here in this community. Teach people how they can open up their own businesses, how they can work for themselves, maybe part-time to get started, but long time in terms of trying to make sure that we build the business community here. And in addition to that, we have been in very serious negotiations with one of the most prominent companies in St. Louis about opening the only financial advisor's office in all of North St. Louis in that building as well. So we are hopeful that post-COVID, we will be able to continue that vision. But that is not enough. I want to ask James Clark and all of the members of his team to stand and raise your hands in the back, because they were out as part of our public safety department and pandemic response, cleaning up North Grant, getting trees cut, helping to get trash picked up, getting vacant lots mowed, and things of that nature. Because we have to improve how we live in our own community, what we accept in our own community, that we have an attractive and vibrant place to want to call home and want to work in this community. And that this campus, this Grace Hill Water Tower campus, soon to be the Peter Bunce campus, will be a shining light in this community and show people what can be done by the competent, qualified, capable, and able staff, volunteers, and partners that we have. So from Highway 70 all the way down, we want people to be able to know that there is a new day and that we are working together to improve this community, and we want to solicit developers and new housing and get rid of graffiti and trash and dirt and overgrown lots, because we want to show what can be in North St. Louis versus what is. As Nelson Mandela said, it's always impossible until it's done. So it is my pleasure to bring up the Alderman, John Collins Muhammad, and ask him to bring remarks on behalf of the 21st Ward.
I'm not as tall as Mike. I tell you, James Clark sent me a text before I walked up, and he said, be brief. So I promise I'm going to be as quick as possible, no matter how long it takes. But thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Chairman, for your extraordinary leadership in seeing this merger through. This is the strengthening of two organizations that are dedicated and committed to revitalization in North St. Louis, a community that has over 20,000 vacant buildings, over 16,000 vacant lots. The average household income is well below $30,000, a community with no businesses, and a community where people have seemed to lost just a little bit of hope. But with this merger, an organization that was founded to give comprehensive resources to a community that is devastated and neglected, and another organization founded on the bricks of racial tensions and a racial revolutionary, and to stabilize communities. With the united of these two organizations, we will see something never before that we have seen in North St. Louis. And this is exactly what we need at this particular time. I am so proud of the work that Grace Hill does here in the College Hill neighborhood and in North City in general. And it is undoubted the work that Urban League has done throughout our entire region. This is what we need. I am excited to be here. This is just fantastic. I'm almost ready to cry because this here is perfect. I was looking at the balloons. These two cute girls right here, they were looking at the balloons, so it made me look at the balloons. And I noticed that they are twins, but they're different. Now, the one on the right is a little rowdy. She likes to move, I can see. The one on the left is very calm. And I was watching those two, looking at them, look at the balloons. I'm like, that's just like them. But I'm sure the goal is the same. The purpose is the same, to rebuild, reinvest, return around, and reimagine a North St. Louis that we all would be proud of. And I truly believe that is what's going to happen with the uniting of these two organizations. So I commend you, Mr. President and Mr. Chairman, and both of your staff for seeing this through. Thank you. Now, me and the Vice President, James Clark, just talked about marriage. I am engaged to a young lady who works for Grace Hill. She's in the back, Miss Asia Wallace, and I really came here to see her.
Well, you can't get any better than that. Thank you, Alderman. We are proud of the fact that, once again, not only are these two legacy organizations focused on collaboration, but so are the two alderpersons that work in this College Hill community between the 3rd Ward and the 21st Ward. And we're very proud of the fact that we have the committee woman of the 3rd Ward who is here today. She's representing the ward and also her son, the alderman, Brandon Bosley. And she is also the Chief of Staff downtown in the Recorder of Deeds office. She has served this community and served this area and this ward for a very long time, helping so many people over the years. And we would be honored if you would just bring us a brief remark. Please give her a big round of applause and thanks for all of her hard work and dedication to the community as well.
Well, good evening, everyone. Afternoon. I'm going to keep it brief. Alderman Brandon Bosley in Washington, D.C. worked with some high-level people to work on Black Wall Street STL, and he asked me at the last minute to come on down here, and I left work coming down to say briefly. And I say to you all, welcome to the 3rd Ward. We are excited working with the President, Mike McMillan, and we go back a long way. Also, as James Clark, that is a pillar in the community. You don't have to live in the community to be a part of the community. And these men here have been a part of the community. I know them for 30 plus years. So I am looking forward to what the old PNC Bank brings and what President Mike McMillan has to work with our ward. We have a lot of entrepreneurship people in the ward that's looking forward to having that SB to come and help them get their business off the ground, because they're constantly asking me, how can I start my own business? What do I need to do? What is the capital? What is the paperwork that I need to have? So now we will have an agency here that can tell them what to do and how to walk through that process. So just to keep it brief, thank you all so much. And like I say, welcome to the 3rd Ward. And Mike, go way back. I thank you so much for believing in the 3rd Ward and the North St. Louis as a whole, and bringing resources that a lot of people talk. So you can talk a lot, but your actions tell everything. And Mike McMillan and James Clark, your action have shown us what you're about. And I honor you and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, committee woman. Please give our regards to the alderman and thank him for all that he does. So those of you who know both of our agencies know that our largest program in both cases is Head Start. And Head Start has driven this transaction from the very beginning because we value our relationship with them so much. Some of you may not know that our former National Urban League president, Whitney Young, was a close confidant of President Lyndon Johnson. And when they worked on the war on poverty, Lyndon took one of the recommendations from Whitney Young and they helped create Head Start. And so it has now impacted generations of children throughout this entire country. And we are extremely grateful to Region 7 for working with us and approving this merger. We're grateful to the SBA, grateful to the public schools, grateful to the United Way, grateful to the Senior Citizen Services of the City of St. Louis at SLAAA, so that we can continue what we're doing at Patch Center, and everyone that worked with us on this merger. And before we have our reception and we give each of you a chance to get to meet each other, we have a major announcement that I would like to ask Dr. Gwendolyn Diggs to please come up, along with Aaron Weeks and a few of our Head Start youth that are here with us today as we make this announcement, because we wanted to make sure when we merged and we came together that we were stronger together, that we did everything that we could to maintain every single piece of the puzzle of what was Grace Hill as an entity by itself, and then added to that by sustaining everything and growing and showing how we are able to come together in collaboration as opposed to competition, and show other not-for-profits what you can do when you have the same mission for the same people in the same space at the same time. And so now I would like for us to make this announcement known. So Richard, if you would please join Dr. Diggs. We have been awarded a $38 million contract from Head Start over 5 years, maintaining all of what was the Grace Hill contract, the Urban League contract, combining those contracts and increasing them for this $38 million announcement, on top of everything else that we have in this community. So Dr. Diggs and Aaron and everyone that worked so incredibly hard on this bid process, you deserve a big, thunderous, joint round of applause and thanks for everything that you did to make this a reality. So as we get ready to close today, I cannot say thank you enough. We have refreshments here, and then as you part, we have a small token of appreciation to everyone. And since he almost preached a sermon, I want Pastor Petty to please come back and lead us out of today with a prayer, because only through God can we have the type of vision that we all have for serving through this community, serving in a pandemic with a healthcare crisis, with a racial crisis, a police community crisis, and an economic crisis. And we know that the people that we serve are the ones that need help the most. And that when they walk in our doors, we need to have the compassion and the service-minded attitude to help them become independent and be their best selves. And that's what the 300 of our staff do each and every day. God bless you and thank you. Pastor Petty.
Father, because you're sovereign and you know everything in advance, even the thoughts that we try to think, you already knew we were going there. You know what the rest of the day is, all the people we will meet, all whose paths we will cross, every great thing we do and everything that we're not proud of. But we thank you for this day that you're allowing us to be a part of July 22nd, 2020. Which is a part of your plan. Nothing we've done qualifies us to be here, but it is your grace and your mercy, and it's your patience with us in spite of us, that you've given us an opportunity to let our light so shine that others may see our good works, and then as a result, give you the glory. And we just thank you already. And for the refreshments, that those who are going to partake, that they'll be able to digest it properly, that there are no complications, that there's not a gluttonous spirit that causes them to take in more than they need. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.